Hi guys, it's Monday and today is jazz. Today we're going to be looking at another big band that was still touring and recording during the 1970s, and that's the band of Buddy Rich. Now I've got a couple of albums. I couldn't find my third one, and that's all right. The one album I didn't find was one called Speak No Evil, which to me was, I guess, not one of Buddy's best albums. It was one where he had scrapped the band. He was recording songs using studio musicians and trying to get more into popular dance style music. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the studio musicians. I mean, Creed Taylor did a few albums in the mid-70s. It was great, and the studio guys were really what I was enjoying most about those albums. Trumpet sections that had people like John Faddis, Marvin Stamm, Alan Rubin, Lou Soloff, and he was using these guys on a lot of albums, and it was great to be able to listen to them play. So the studio guys aren't really something I'm bringing down here. That's something I really enjoy. But when you got a leader like Buddy Rich who's taking a band on the road, touring, when I'm listening to albums, I really want to hear what him and his band are doing. So Speak No Evil was not really one of my favorites. One of the albums I did enjoy was this one called Different Drummer. Now, you got to remember, around this time, Buddy Rich was, one of the top three drummers. We had Buddy Rich, we had Gene Krupa, and Louis Bellson. Now, Buddy Rich probably got a lot more exposure because he often would show up on Johnny Carson's Tonight Show. And I can remember even some nights when they'd have a little drum playoff between Ed Shaughnessy, Johnny Carson, and Buddy Rich. So you saw a lot more of him. You got to see a lot more of the Buddy Rich persona. And he was one I really followed more than the other two drummers. On this one, he's got his standard big band that he was touring with at the time. Trumpet section was Lynn Viviano, Jeff Stout, Wayne Noss, John DeFlon. We had Pat LaBarbera in the saxophone section, trombones, Bruce Paulson, Tony DiMaggio. A lot of great players. This album, he was getting into a few more popular tunes. He's got a couple of songs from Andrew Lloyd Webber's Jesus Christ Superstar, particularly Superstar and Heaven on Their Minds. He's doing some Van Morrison with Domino, but he's also got a few straight-ahead jazz tunes. We've got Chelsea Bridge, Paul's tune, and one of my favorites, Thelonious Monk's Straight No Chaser. And I'll tell you, if you hear his version of Straight No Chaser, it is just amazing, and it's driving some of the players crazy in my big band because we just can't even get close to what he's doing with the speed he takes this tune at. So really nice to see what he does with the song. Now, if you watch any of the shows over the last few months, you'll notice one of the things I do enjoy are live recordings. We talked about it with Maynard Ferguson live at Jimmy's. Talked about it with Don Ellis at live at Fillmore. We had Bodie Herman live at Montreux. And it gives you a chance to really see what these bands do when they're performing, to really get a sense of how electric and how energized they are and what these performers really put out there. A little different than you get in a studio one where you got enough option for other takes and you're kind of picking the best take. Here you're just getting that raw sound coming out and you're finding out really what this band could do. So one of my favorite Buddy Rich albums from this era was Buddy Rich Live in London. And this was recorded at Ronnie Scott's Club in London, England. Pretty much the same personalities he had with the Different Drummer album. Basically, a lot of these songs pretty straight ahead. The only one that's really like a commercial one, I would say, would be Theme from Love Story. Other than that, it's straight big band tunes. Really exciting. This album, let me see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 songs. But if you go online, there's some extended versions. We've almost got double that. So they recorded for a whole week at Ronnie Scott's, and there's a lot of material. The album at that point just put out, like say, 9 songs or 8 songs, and then a little monologue by Buddy Rich. But if you go online, you can find them streaming or on iTunes where you've got extended versions. So a lot more to hear. And some of this really shows off what Buddy Rich can do. And I can understand, because Buddy Rich said, you can't write drum parts that are interesting enough for the drummers. And if you listen to what he's playing, I don't think there'd be a lot of drummers that could even read what he does. It's just amazing to hear what he's playing. It's not just keeping time. It's really what he contributes to the song. So if you get a chance, check out Buddy Rich. Two of my favorites, again, from that era, Different Drummer And one of my all-time favorites, another live recording, Buddy Rich live in London. Okay, that's it for today. Wednesday, back for classic rock. And this Friday, when we talk about doing something completely different, or I call my sections jazz, classic rock, and beyond, we're going to be really beyond. We've got somebody that's a very unusual performer. You'll have to check it out to see. He's got stuff on YouTube. He's on all the streaming platforms, something you can go back to later, but I'm sure this is somebody you may not have heard before, and if you have, you know what I'm talking about when I say you're in for a surprise on Friday. Thanks very much. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you later.